Sarah Jordan of Psychology Today is running a clinic on weaponizing alabaster tears. So she's going back and forth. She's using her Twitter, or was using her Twitter, to come for the Black woman therapist, Nicole Lewis. Now, what she didn't expect, probably, is the pushback from Nicole and her supporters. So now she is acting like the victim, like, oh, things are just getting out of hand. But I will read the Twitter thread because it is a thread and it is a clinic in how to weaponize their victimhood. It's time for me to say something about the Nicole Lewis situation because it has thoroughly spiraled out of control. 3-ish months ago, I saw a tweet about her excluding clientele based on their demographic information. I expressed my thoughts, noticed others were doing the same, and got the idea for an article about the psychodynamic take on therapists who double as influencers. I started the article by mentioning Miss Lewis and another influencer therapist. My intention in doing so was to illustrate hot topics in their therapist influencer landscape. The rest of the article explored the notion of what psychodynamically oriented therapist influencers feel comfortable saying, doing online through interviews with other licensed clinicians. It was not an article with a focus on Miss Lewis, nor did I ever intend for it to come across that way, because her tweet was in public discourse already. I wasn't writing anything that was in public knowledge, hence my not reaching out to her for comment. Psychology Today published the article unedited, as prior to the blowback, my editors explicitly expressed to me that they believed the article was not problematic. But after its publication, negative feedback from Ms. Lewis and her followers began flowing in. I wasn't sure how to handle things, so at Psychology Today's insistence, I deleted my tweets and removed the article. Originally, we planned for the interviews to be repurposed for another piece, but tensions were so high they thought it was best to scrap the whole thing. Yesterday, she posted a TikTok IG video accusing me of stalking and harassing her on top of being racist. Mostly, I'm confused about the timing of the videos. Months have passed. The article is one that, and we have never spoken. I'm sorry, the article is gone and we have never spoken. I DM'd her last night as a gesture of goodwill in an attempt to extend an olive branch. My goal was to bypass the depersonalizing screens between us for a more human conversation on the phone about how we can move forward amicably or even just civilly. She then posted that DM along with out-of-context screenshots of tweets regarding my thoughts on patient discrimination, accusing me of intentionally harming her, and outrightly refused to speak to me. There will be a part 2. Part 2 on the Sarah London of Psychology Today brouhaha. Okay, so she continues. This situation has gotten out of hand and the escalation is hard for me to fathom. Comments and mentions on all social media platforms, twisting my words, private messages telling me to be unalived. I have trouble understanding the vitriol or where the racism accusations even came from. And I'm trying to read all of this without editorializing. Okay, I'm bewildered by Mrs. Lewis's claims. To be clear, in no way, shape, or form was I targeting Miss Lewis for any reason, and I would never generalize and demonize therapists who choose to turn away clients. To each their own. At the same time, I see my phrasing getting misconstrued into ad hominem character assessments, which are then used to justify attacks towards me. I don't believe that challenging Mrs. Lewis's stance on patient discrimination warrants calling me a waste of air or a loser. Fundamentally, the situation has gotten so far from the original point. Should a therapist discriminate against clients due to their gender or skin color? Motives for why someone might do that publicly fascinate me, and discussing them should cultivate a productive dialogue. Despite the biting or satirical delivery of my opinions, and despite the fact that my words may be manipulated through a lens of hate-fueled groupthink, I can say with absolute certainty that I harbor no ill will towards Miss Lewis and never have. I just wish she could hear that. Now, if that is not a whole diatribe full of no accountability, I don't know what is. This woman literally lit a fire in the Twitterverse and acted like she has no culpability in it because supposedly that was not her intent. So let's get into this. In this part, she says, it was not an article with a focus on Miss Lewis. She did not have to mention Miss Lewis because she knows that doing so and then continuing the screenshots in the Twitterverse, in the social media discourse, that would put a target specifically on Miss Lewis. So she right there threw a rock and hit her hand. She literally just did that. Right here, she blame shifted. She put it all on Psychology Today. She is acting like she is not a grown woman who deliberately took these steps and published this on her own. She took the time to do that, and now she's shifting blame and accountability and the consequences to Psychology Today. Absolutely unacceptable. She's talking about DMing her. Be public with how you handle things, just as public as what you did, even if that was supposedly not your intention. So you guys can see what I said, and this is how I'm going to close it out. You guys can pause to read it. I want to wrap it by speaking on this part right here that I have circled. Sarah London spoke about a hate-fueled groupthink. Now, in this current climate of social media, especially on the Twitterverse that is unregulated because that is Elon Musk's world, when she put a target on this particular woman, she knew what she was doing because that is what happens in this social media discourse. And Black women are a target that boosts engagement. We just are. Look at how the Samuelites and the podcasters come for us. So when other Black women come back and mirror that energy, that match that energy, we're the ones that get accused of, just being out of control. When if Sarah London would have just sat there and ate her lunch or typed her little articles or posted her influencer pictures without putting a target on a Black woman's back, she wouldn't be getting this energy. So this is a lesson for other people. Stop coming for us. Just because you don't like it when we finally put up some boundaries, that does not mean that you come for us. Because when you come for us, you don't understand that we do and we are supporting other Black women.